Welcome to a late IHP show with your very own 5D mystic, ready to chit-chat a little bit more about our feminine and masculine as they harmonize, intelligence as you harmonize with the whole self. And so whole self means no unresolved trauma, and intelligence is the expansion of consciousness, the sciences and spirituality coming together, sharing how every person can return home to their origins, which is the homeostasis version of you, the restorative embodiment of you. Okay, so that's for some first trauma therapy, EMDR, child parts work, and somatics. For others, we don't have rupture, and that's why the 5D mystics, we get to do this dharma and this lovely matrix. And the matrix is really something subjective, so every person will know of their matrix as we as a whole work together to bring forth, it was this way. We bring forth a future that is full of love and life, and we learn from our past. So the past doesn't weigh you down, it lifts you up, because if you are learning how to be yourself with the restorative embodiment, so Dharma, you know how to do thoughts, emotions, and therefore you know how to nurture you and all that you want into existence. So you have a relationship with your higher self. When you're mindfully and spiritually living, you know, again, this business of Lucifer, demons, it's all with the unresolved trauma. So groups of people that have that. Then we have the 7 to 14 charming, who they pull on each other's pain points, and there's in groups and out groups. So we have those who will not be accepting that sciences and spirituality come together. I didn't realize how many mystics in 4D land had names for the 5D. They also don't acknowledge that we are 5D, by the way, and I understand why. So please do remember, I bring to you sciences, spiritual, and spirituality from Maria's subjective experience, and then from books and teachers and a bunch of different experts, and that we are here for me as a voice, perspective, and mentor for those who will take mentorship, masterclass, do spiritual retreats, so for personal development, growth. But when we're here, we're chit-chatting, and even channeled guidance. You take what resonates, you leave what doesn't. It's entertainment purposes. You treat it as you wish. Authenticity and transparency is number one for any person who cares about what they do. And you will notice that those who care, yes, we also have funny stories to share. So personality will come through. That's a given. And the 5D collective, we love collaborating. So that's a cooperative group of people. They love to nurture. So we don't do humbug. We do, I know how to regulate my nervous system and be around people who don't live with eggshells and formalities. Please, let's keep that within the plane of those who are Cuscos. So with that being said, when you are intelligence, you stay away from negative people who don't know how to nurture their life into existence. It's not because you don't meet them, it's that they don't embody expanding you, and you don't have the capacity to expand with them because you have completely different ways of thinking. When I meet people who are open-minded, then I know that I can talk about a lot of different topics that we talk about here, because they're curious and they're also knowledgeable and they want to talk more. When I meet people who are humbug and they are, not really into expanding, so they have the lines of communication are broken. They have some, whether it's, again, maladaptive child patterns of behaviors, drinking, fucking, drugging, and that wheel doesn't have to be doing it in front of me, but basically the meaninglessness life, or adaptive child pattern of behavior. So I want to be right about anything, so I'm not open to different exploration. I'm not curious. So when you're not looking into things with curiosity and awe, you're not open-hearted. Your communication is cut off, mystic or not. Okay, so optimized feminines, optimized masculines, we bring intelligence together and expand. When you're with those who are brokenhearted and with broken lines of communication, if it's a 4D mystic, you'll know because they'll be talking about things in a certain way. And they will use this good-bad scale. They'll think that some are more special than others. Also, they have criticism of the planet versus knowing that we all don't know everything. That ignorance is part of our ancestry, and it will be part of the future because we don't know everything. Being able to be equanimous is for those who are open-hearted, again, and open-minded. So the ones who know true empowerment, true love, true passion, true romance. They're always on a high, and when they're on a low, they're self-regulating with those who are safe haven, secure base. So their communication involves universal love, delight in oneself and in other, and that true authority. And so, for example, I've had a day, I don't know, some shit went down. You go home, right, and you talk about it. You don't need to have a scale up, down. But when you're treating emotions like laundry, that to me says you're not using your masculine, your mind, because your left and right aren't working, where you say, oh, look, I can be a witness to, I have some stuff going on in my nervous system, my emotions, since they're coming up. So let me regulate, let me do activities that lift me up. I don't press down the emotions, let me talk about them. Once you've done the therapy where your self is whole, you can see, you can soothe, you can keep safe and secure. Securely attached people are ready to do mindfully living stuff because they know how to contain in their body, but it's in the prefrontal cortex. They don't go offline. If you go offline, that equals structural dissociation through rumination, through a spiral of blah, 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 blah. So you are not learning to harness yourself. And then really what it is you ignore the good attachment trauma information out there, and you ignore going to help yourself heal from the human suffering that comes from a temporal junction and a biochemistry of fear. The unfaced fears are due to there being things that want to be resolved. So straightforward, intelligence expands, masculine, feminine. We expand each other. Science of spirituality expands. Why? Because curious, open, accepting, loving brains. Thank you, Dr. Dan Siegel. That's an integrated brain. We use coal when we're present, which is right now. I'm present with you. I'm attuning, even though I can't meet any of you, but you are attuning to me. You're feeling my vibe, you're hearing my tone when I get passionate, all of the different ways you attune to me. If you don't like me, I'm just going to share, that's a good thing for you to notice, because that means there's a part of you where I said something, it didn't resonate. So you can say, okay, this doesn't resonate. You can claim ownership, but I'm talking to a person who has a different perspective. And that's what it is. So there's no need to take it, get upset, and make it personal. Doesn't mean you have to want to hang out with me. Doesn't mean you have to want to come back. That's the part. But processing, I don't like. Consciously is where you say, okay, so I don't like this, my bias, this is my stuff. I don't like to use important, fancy words. It's better to do vague words, because that way you don't create a label and distance yourself and then become technical, because technical is what the technical people do. I'm not doing technical. I'm supporting you to understand self-empowerment through spirituality and or mindful living and mindset and mind sight practices. Okay, so this is what you do. If you say, I want life now, and you don't notice that, okay, I just whined. Okay, what am I upset about? Yeah, I am upset about that thing. Does that thing, is it going to change? No. So my emotion is here. Okay, what do I want to do so I can process the emotion? Not go and yell and vent. That might not be a good idea, because you're not going to be here in your prefrontal cortex. When you have the sensation, image, affects, meanings, behaviors come up. That's why the core self, you need to own it first. No shame button. If you have a shame button, you don't own it yet. You want to know your relational self, your narrative self, your solo self. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. Again, if you don't know these parts of you, then you are not yet aware of you. you are not going to be making the best use of any mindful practices, because when you are in the awareness bit, that's when maximum uncertainty arises. And that is the moment of truth of some people. They have alters, they switch without even knowing it because they are not self-aware, and they won't notice it. They could notice it in a way of tending to it, but we need better and more better therapists out there, and to share and spread information like I do. And that's where, again, spirituality life, a life that is of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. The 5D mystics, we come together and we build dharma, not karma. Karma is for the people who don't go to heal their trauma. They don't go and tend to their self. They don't bring online pacha. They don't forgive like Jesus taught me. They don't be humble like God taught me. They don't reclaim their heaven in the body opportunity, because the self-loathing gut wrench is of the person who does not heal their transgenerational and cultural. And anyone who's yelling out there on YouTube, they're not participating to the healing journey, because they are actively in sympathetic, modulated, embodied self people who are creating an unsafe environment as they're getting in their angry circuit like a little squirrel from Cusco Land. And they are teenagers with the boxing gloves. They're in their fight response, so they don't have their higher self. They're not nurturers. They are, in fact, saying, we're battlefield people. We're superheroes. We have a supervillain. We have a shadow. We have a light. So when you're talking about yourself like that, you're not doing anything, 16-year-old. You're grown up, but you're not a grown up. Your adolescent brain is no longer adolescent. So your biochemistry, you're not doing any of mastery. You may channel. You're going to be a channeler for the people who are not with the higher self, the truth, emotional fulfillment, and to support our entire planet, and to nurture secure attachment life, and to bring forth the future that is not going to be the same as the past. The past has never been the same as, Elvis, he got cut off, right, from his legs because of how he moved. Now today, there's a lot of us who don't appreciate how music and art, it's not artistry. I have to say, I don't go to dancing places in America because of the way they dance. I would rather do it in Italy, where we look like whack jobs because we just move. But I don't have to worry some dude come on up behind me and doing shit that I'm like, what is that? Like, get away from me. Or seeing on screen. So to me, that's not art. But I'm like, I'm old, I'm 44, you know what I mean? So maybe it's my age. So that's where the past doesn't return. Doesn't mean we're losing values. We're not losing values. We're transforming, changing. And it's like when they complained about my generation. Your generation doesn't know anything. So whenever you hear people who are closed-minded, they are carrying this past and they're thinking of the present as if it needs to look like something from yesterday. There's many different ways that we can support each other to know that some people won't be on board. There's reasons for it. And nobody needs to be on board with everything, but yelling at people doesn't help to empower, because you're not opening them up to conversation so that they can understand your person like they are. And so that's why we have a 5D collective, because we like to talk like grown-ups do. And we create the societal culture. It's the ones who have a whole self, who are not trying to compete or be like superheroes. Nobody needs saving. If you do, it's with therapy that you save yourself from your unfortunate business of the first 3 years of your life, potentially with unresolved trauma stuff, okay? And then 16, so your charge is you go and tend to them. Then you're going to start living a good life if you want, and if you keep doing it mindfully, you're going to have bliss and delight. And that's because you're self-regulating. So the reason everything is inside, when you hear like Sadhguru and his quotes or spirituality, it's because you're regulating your nervous system. Restorative embodiment self, you're aware, accountable, regulating, integration of the brain. It is, in fact, your inner natural well-being. This is why mindfulness practices are being supported, that individuals from our subject matter expert fields that don't like it, they don't know enough of the good therapists or neuroscientists, if they did, they would understand why you want to support integration, but obviously why you want to give all of the information to the person so they can know what to expect, why you want to be flexible in allowing them to know you could have fallback, but what you want to do is have what you can substitute for those bad habits. You want to have healthy self-worth people around you, because they're the ones who are going to allow themselves to say, hey, what's up with that attitude? Now, what's up with the, do we need to do something? So people who care, we are unconditionally loving the ones of us who are able to care the 5D way, because that's the feminine and masculine embodiment, a harmonized person. So again, not gender specific. It's a somatic empath. It's a person who loves people, loves to be a people. You have flaws, I have flaws, and intelligence comes from sciences and spirituality, embodying basically two different languages that all people can understand. True spirituality, it's love, not fear-mongering and continuing to use the ancient stories in a way that divide people. So yeah, to me, the 4D, they divide people based on their own ideas of how you have to do something. Like with the tarot, Akashic record readings, Reiki, some of the individuals within the sphere, some diminish it, they minimize it to the extent of where, okay, let's not minimize it. It's like with symbolism, there's so much that goes behind reading tarot. I integrate all the tools in my way for personal development, but if you become an expert in only tarot, there's a reason for it. And if you meet a 5D expert tarot, that's going to be fascinating. And see, to me, every year I learn more about symbolism and I get new cards, but the reality is if you wanted to, you could get so deep within any of these as you're channeling and as you're learning. Akashic record readings, same thing goes. I love Akashic record readings. And I just found out that some people, they will tell people they need to be attuned. I'm self-taught. I opened a book, read it, did it. I've had a number of Akashic record readings I've given, and then I have had the honor to have downloads of my own. So we're all connected to the field. The part about what you learn and why Reiki, I am with my Reiki master. I got the course. That is different, and I know why. It's not necessarily about you being attuned, even though that will be something you'll know is happening when it happens. It's amazing. And then when you start to practice, for those of us who love to support people, but here they talk about protection. They talk about negative energy. So you'll have these individuals who talk to you about energy that way, which is completely untrue. There's not negative energy. It's different density. It's not negative. So the 5D collective, we are completely in this sphere of unconditional love, but also the energetic imprint. And then we appreciate each other, and we don't go around telling each other how to do something perfectly or not. It's more of, let's make sure to let people know that we're all a part of this universal love energy. That's the point. But to get there, the people who are hurt and heartbroken, they're the ones who are not yet vibing at the frequency. So when the ascension energies come about, they get the opportunity to harmonize their own intelligence if they want. If they need extra help, there's EMDR, child parts work, and somatics with good therapists, and they go on that journey for however long it takes for integration and restorative embodiment life, or basically they will know with a good therapist that it's a journey. They'll stay with it because it brings forth inner and outer well-being. For mystics, we don't need that necessarily, but if it is needed, you get that. And then with your clairs, you continue. So the tending to yourself, inner and outer well-being, is what you will know. The stories, we know they're a part of our past. We carry them. The co-creation is not about bringing them to the future. It's about knowing what they served, allowing sciences to dispel the myths of demons. There's no demons in the body of anyone. Patrick McNamara, he's a neuroscientist. He has pretty much enough proof, in my personal opinion, since he's done books, he's continuing his research, he's done interviews. So unless you want to say it's fake, which there are those, they don't want to believe it. Like if somebody says yoga brings demons out of you, the fact that you don't say, no, that's not, because you believe people can have a demon in them. So it means you're uneducated on neuroscience. Or neuroscientist Patrick McNamara. You might say, well, it's only one neuroscientist. Well, I mean, the brain is made in a certain way. It's healing itself from trauma, and there's a fear receptor. So, I mean, even if you don't want to believe in the research, pretty sure that the consistency so far is that neuroscientists are finding how the brain works. So, I mean, the truth is you don't want to accept that science explains the trauma that's coming up. You'd rather use a story. Like yoga, it's a ventral vagal portfolio of toning exercises. Again, you dismissing to look into an entire field, like with Reiki and the theologians, you dismissing that it exists and just saying, I'm going to slap my stuff on it. It's an ignorant human being. You're ignoring that you are coming at a topic biased, you don't like it, and you're using an ancient history label for it versus hearing out those who are doing research or anyways, the point is you're not exploring it. So it's very fascinating. And we're going to see how our life keeps moving forward as we have a lot more people who are realizing the beauty of sciences and spirituality. And it is thanks to social media having brought us together and having made us have access to content. It's thanks to YouTube that I get access to smart people. I have people around me, they're smart too, but I'm saying smart that have minds that blow me away, like the dude who's interviewing that other dude. I need to go finish that one. So when you meet masculine as a feminine, you'll know. And they're compassionate, and they're loving, and they're intellectually savvy, and they're curious, and they have fun with information. They don't have this humbug stuff. They don't bring any of that closed-mindedness. Feminine, same thing goes. And so we are open and receptive and accepting and loving, and we'll be back with more on that. So intelligence, human expansion, evolution, love, heaven in the body, because your restorative embodiment self, and grounding in the 5D vibration. So not only within you and that enlightenment vibration and your optimized version and your whole feminine masculine, and then having your masculine or feminine, depends which one you are, and you can have masculines or feminines. Don't know if you're polyamory or monoamory, but obviously, again, when you're vibing consistently at the enlightenment and the expansion, is going to be a perfect match if they're expanding. If they're not, then they don't feel deeply, they don't think deeply, they don't have fun deeply. They're going to be a bore, like the Zen master with laundry. And on that note, let's not use our time. 24 hours is all you got. You don't want to be bored. You might not be back tomorrow. I don't want to not be back, but I might not be back tomorrow, my lovely viewers, if ever that happens. I do this, FYI, every now and then on my audio. So if you're somebody sensitive, don't be. I'm just letting you remember, if I'm not back tomorrow, well, I will be back, but you know, if I'm not, thank you for stopping by, and we will hopefully, though, see each other again. In the meantime, have a wonderful evening. Remember to thank all people. Intelligence, not intelligence, it's still people. They share a moment with us. We share a moment with them. The ones who want to grow old together, they stick around. They talk to you. They communicate again and again and again. They build with you. We have a lot of building to do. They get to come to our spiritual retreats. They get to do, you know, our masterclass groups. So, and then they get to have fun online, and we get to test out new technology eventually. Okay, I'm done teasing you all. Thank you again. And if you have any curiosity questions, that you want me to just share randomly from my mystic journey or just mysticism in general. Remember, I don't do regurgitation. So I give to you my subjective experience, and obviously I do learn information. I just don't regurgitate it. So it's not going to be linear. And then be a conversation like we just did. That's how it works, in case you're new and you didn't notice that, and in case you were curious about that. So see you again soon.